Support for Bahraini. Shiite militants, 2011-present. In the turbulent aftermath of the 2011 Arab Spring, as Bahrain's streets filled with thousands of protesters demanding political reform and equal rights, Iran saw an opportunity to expand its influence in the Persian Gulf. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, always quick to seize on instability, began covertly supporting Shiite militant groups in Bahrain with the goal of destabilizing the Sunni monarchy and turning the tiny island nation into another front in Iran's regional struggle against Saudi Arabia and its allies. Through a carefully orchestrated campaign of training, arming, and financing, the IRGC transformed a fragmented protest movement into a well-armed insurgency capable of striking at the heart of Bahrain's security apparatus. Bahrain, a small but strategically vital Gulf nation, is home to a majority Shiite population ruled by a Sunni monarchy led by the Al-Khalifa family. The Shiite majority had long felt marginalized and discriminated against, with limited access to political power and economic opportunities. The 2011 protests, inspired by the wider Arab Spring, erupted as a cry for justice and equality. But what began as a peaceful uprising quickly spiraled into a violent confrontation after the Bahraini government, backed by Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, cracked down on demonstrators with brute force. Sensing an opportunity to exploit sectarian grievances and weaken a key Saudi ally, the IRGC activated its covert networks in Bahrain. The Quds Force, the IRGC's elite unit responsible for conducting operations beyond Iran's borders, took the lead in coordinating Iran's support for Bahraini Shiite militants. The IRGC's goal was not just to fuel unrest, but to transform Bahrain into a pressure point against Saudi Arabia and the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, using militant groups as a tool to challenge the status quo. Iran's support for Bahraini militants unfolded in multiple phases. The first phase involved identifying and cultivating relationships with Shiite opposition leaders and militant groups. Iranian operatives established contact with dissident networks in Bahrain and neighboring countries, offering training, weapons, and financial assistance. The IRGC used its extensive network of safe houses and smuggling routes across the Gulf to funnel arms and explosives into Bahrain, equipping local cells with the means to wage a low-intensity insurgency. One of the most notable groups to benefit from Iranian support was the al-Assad Brigades, a Bahraini Shiite militant organization that emerged as a key player in the armed resistance against the Bahraini government. The al-Assad Brigades, inspired by Iran's revolutionary ideology and loyal to Tehran's vision of Shia empowerment, became a primary recipient of Iranian training and logistical support. The IRGC provided al-Assad operatives with specialized training in asymmetrical warfare, bomb-making, and urban combat tactics. This training often took place in IRGC camps in Iran and Iraq, where Bahraini recruits were groomed to carry out attacks on security forces and government targets. By 2013, the al-Assad Brigades and other Iranian-backed groups had escalated their operations, launching a series of deadly attacks on Bahraini police officers, security installations, and government officials. The sophistication of these attacks, including the use of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, and remotely detonated bombs, bore the unmistakable fingerprints of the IRGC. Bahraini security forces, accustomed to dealing with low-level unrest, found themselves facing a far more dangerous and well-trained adversary. The IRGC's support for Bahraini militants was not confined to the battlefield. Iran also provided extensive financial assistance to sustain the insurgency and fund propaganda efforts aimed at mobilizing Bahrain's Shiite population. Iranian state media amplified the grievances of Bahrain's Shiite majority, portraying the Sunni monarchy as an illegitimate and oppressive regime. The IRGC's information warfare strategy aimed to delegitimize the Bahraini government and rally international support for the opposition. Iran's involvement in Bahrain extended beyond the borders of the island nation. The IRGC used Iraq as a key staging ground for its operations, leveraging its close ties with Iraqi Shia militias to facilitate the movement of weapons, operatives, and financial resources to Bahraini militants. Iraqi groups such as Kataib Hezbollah and Asaib al-Haq played a crucial role in coordinating and executing Iran's agenda in Bahrain, acting as intermediaries between the IRGC and its Bahraini proxies. As the Bahraini government struggled to contain the growing insurgency, Saudi Arabia and the UAE intervened to crush the uprising and restore order. The deployment of Saudi and Emirati forces under the banner of the GCC's Peninsula Shield Force effectively quashed the immediate threat posed by the 2011 protests, but it did little to dismantle the underground networks cultivated by the IRGC. Bahraini security forces launched a ruthless crackdown on Shiite communities, further fueling sectarian tensions and creating a fertile ground for continued Iranian influence. Despite the heavy security presence and harsh measures imposed by Bahrain's government, Iranian-backed militant groups have continued to operate in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to reignite the insurgency. Periodic attacks and the discovery of weapons caches linked to Iran serve as a constant reminder of the IRGC's lingering influence. Bahraini authorities have repeatedly accused Iran of attempting to destabilize the country, pointing to intercepted shipments of arms and explosives as evidence of Tehran's ongoing efforts to foment unrest. For the IRGC, Bahrain remains a strategic battleground in its broader struggle against Saudi Arabia and the United States. By keeping Bahrain unstable, Iran can divert Saudi resources, challenge the U.S. naval presence in the Gulf, and maintain leverage over the region's security architecture. The IRGC views Bahrain not just as a target, but as a crucial piece in its long-term strategy to reshape the balance of power in the Persian Gulf. Iran's support for Bahraini Shiite militants also serves a larger ideological purpose. By presenting itself as the protector of oppressed Shia communities across the region, Iran seeks to position itself as the vanguard of Shia empowerment and resistance against Sunni hegemony. The IRGC's cultivation of militant proxies in Bahrain is part of a broader effort to export Iran's revolutionary ideology and undermine Sunni-dominated regimes that align with the United States and its Gulf allies. Despite international condemnation and sanctions aimed at curbing Iran's support for terrorism, the IRGC's efforts to arm and train Bahraini militants show no signs of abating. For Iran, the cost of supporting a low-level insurgency in Bahrain is a small price to pay for the strategic dividends it reaps. As long as Tehran continues to view Bahrain as a vulnerable target and a gateway to undermining Saudi Arabia, the IRGC's shadow will continue to loom over the island nation, ensuring that Bahrain remains a flashpoint in the ongoing struggle for regional supremacy.